Madam has already seen some of our intervention through the books that we've done. We would see how, when, and if at all that can be implemented within the school at a later point. I would encourage some questions, if any, or if it's time to back up and go, we can have a interaction at a later point in time also. But I'm sure you would have a lot of questions. So Bloom's taxonomy starts with remembering, understanding, applying, and then the last one will be creating. So the lower three levels is one is the remembering and understanding is what keeps continuing not just in the preliminary years but even beyond. So what happens is I am completely dependent on how much I would remember and how much I can recall it during the examination, those 3 hours. Now if you have seen over the last few years, probably a decade, the pattern of the examination changes. The score of marks becomes a little bit haywire here and there and the changes happen. Of course, for elementary schools that is no much of relevance. But as soon as they go into high school, the remembering and recalling aspects of the children would not help them beyond the point to actually score more marks. So what they start relying on is mugging up. And that's exactly what rote learning is all about. Rote learning is important, yes. But if I execute it and extend it beyond the point, it would not mean that I'm actually understanding and applying and then creating at a later point in time. So I'm actually not in line with the 21st century skills. So while Bloom's taxonomy is the base for most of the things that have been spoken here, probably that would have been the base for even identifying what the 21st century skills would have been for the present and the next generation. What we need to understand is while rote learning is important, it needs to be limited to probably the few initial years and also limited to a few of the things and not everything. So what would happen is, in your classroom, I'm sure you would have also, some children are very good at reciting poems. Many of them are actually not good at it. It's a clear differentiation, clear demarcation that a person who's good at remembering and recalling is good at reciting. Now, when I go to probably class 4 and I talk about areas and perimeters, probably the ones who are not good at poem reciting are good at these skills. Now, it becomes very difficult for the ones who have got unknowingly dependent on their recitation skills to actually apply some of the knowledge in solving a typical problem of finding a perimeter. Right? Nothing wrong. We need to understand that each one is different. I can't have a lion, I can't have an elephant, and I can't have a hippopotamus and a rabbit stand in a line and ask them to run 100 meters and I say whoever comes first is the winner. We all know even before the race starts who's going to come first. Now, overemphasis on rote learning is good to an extent, yes. But then that doesn't mean that the students who are good at rote learning will not be good at higher order thinking skills. They would be. Probably they are over dependent on this and they get into a shell. And the other ones who are not good at rote learning initially, who are not good at recall and remember and recite, would also go into a shell because they have not got good marks. Right? See the effect of rote learning. Now that needs to be diminished. It cannot be eliminated for sure, and it should not be also. Because rote learning is a very effective way of learning in my early childhood. But that should not be carried forward beyond a certain level. That's exactly what the crux of it.
You also spoke about flipped classrooms. So you mean to say there will be, especially a book, would be a first stage of a particular lesson. If I want to teach a particular lesson, so they do those activities first and then.
No. There's nothing.
How this flipped classroom is connected to your books?
Okay, no. Flipped classroom is not directly connected to our books.
Yeah.
Flipped classroom was the mention of flipped classroom was because of a model that is being experimented across.
Yeah, I know that. So,
but what we have emphasized is reducing the burden of the learning process, and there is nothing for the teacher to do in the classroom.
These books are basically activities.
No. Activity is one of the part. We have incorporated the different learning preferences and styles into our books because many students learn by just watching. See, many students learn by reading, but not reading an entire paragraph, but reading the keywords. Many students learn by read and write. Many students learn by doing some experiments. So we have incorporated all of this into our books in different ways in terms of visuals. And when we say visuals, there is nothing to do with video, of course, books. And there is nothing in terms of apps because there is a lot of study. I can share some of the scholarly articles wherein it is mentioned that when you show a video to a child, their imagination and creativity actually diminishes exponentially. I'll give you an example. We all have grown up listening to bedtime stories from our nana nanis, dada dadis, from our parents, right? All of us, I'm sure, have heard the story of the tortoise and the hare. Common, all of us. Each one of us imagination of that story is different. Yes? For me, there is a jungle with big trees and probably a stream flowing, mountain. For some of you, it would be something else. Now, what's happening when I'm showing a video of this particular story? Completely restricting the imagination and creativity of the child. Of course, we don't want to accept that because we are not thinking, especially the parents. It's an easy thing, right? Bedtime stories have been replaced by bedtime mobile stories. They're not being told, they're being shown. Very good. So nice. That's so nice, but you also know the story. You tell it. You tell it to your child. How much time is going to take? 5 minutes. You don't have 5 minutes to spare. What are you doing? What are you doing being so busy? Parents, the involved learning comes in only when you have something physical. And physical is a book in every child's hands. And that's exactly what we are trying to do by going back to basics. Nothing wrong with the education institutions, but all the blame is on the education system. Nothing wrong with the teachers. Teachers have been teaching for decades today, but for all of a sudden, blame on the teachers. Because parents have completely lost it. I'm also a parent. Many a times we get tempted, but we take a step back because there's something thinking happening. Who's going to tell them? How? Everybody knows, but they don't know how to address this. There's a law of the nature, right? Not just you and me or the parents or the child. Law of the nature. Water falls from top to bottom. It will never go from bottom to top. Which means to say that nature is built in a way that it will do something which is easiest. It will not do anything that is difficult. But as humans, if we also follow the same thing, probably then what's the difference between us and animals? We have survived for so many centuries. Now is the time, probably I think, we need to think of it even more. Because the demons that we have created for ourselves is going to destroy us. It's like the Bhasmasur. I don't know how many of you know this. we are creating something that is going to destroy us. What about our own children? Parents actually don't know because they don't think. We need to make them also start thinking. But what is easy for us is to get the children to start thinking first, rather than parents. Parents would always have their own whims and fancies and reasons. They would give 100 reasons, but one reason is good enough for the betterment of the child. And child or the student listens whatever the teacher says. Am I right? Teacher back home, the child back home says that, "Mama, this is not the way." You know, what? No, this is not the way my teacher told me. You are telling me something different. The importance of teacher is paramount. And thanks to this, it is getting back the glory of the teachers in the right perspective, rather than putting all the blame on them. Now the intention is to get the parents also involved. All successful students, we see that the parents are involved. But of late, the parents are diverted to something that is easy, something that is addictive, which is the digital demons. I don't call them digital devices, I call them digital demons. That's their choice. But at least when it comes to the future of the children, they should know what right choices they need to make. The intention is that they get back to the real world rather than being the virtual world. That's the only thing. So the intention is that we make them think in one way or the other. Some way we make them think. And the bonding between the parent and the child, let it be through the learning process. There's a lot of things probably the parents also learn and the child learn. Oh man, it's so easy. I thought it was so difficult. That's why I skipped the mathematics completely. I didn't know it was so easy. I understand it now. Right? These are a few things that we want to enable. Of course, it's a start. It's a long journey, and it's an evolution that would happen. It's not a revolution that would happen all of a sudden in a click of a button. So evolution will take time. That's why we want